I feel myself very much glad to get associated with this platform on Aragya Smriddhi. And this is a very unique platform which I have got an opportunity to express some of my views that what the health strategy has been spoken by the Buddha himself available in Pali language literatures, and some of the things which have been also told by our Acharya Nagarjuna in Madhyamaka Avatar or Madhyamakarika. So, in a very brief manner, but my presentation will be limited only to Pali literature. Whatever I am going to present, this is going to be presented on the basis of Pali literature. You might be also be surprised that there is a text known as Bhesaj Manjusa, available only in Pali language literature. So this is the text Bhesaj Manjusa, that is the Cascade of Medicine. It was composed in a 13th century in Sri Lanka, and it was composed by the Acharyas of Sri Lanka based upon the 8 treatises available on Ayurveda, mainly Ashtanga Hridaya Shastra, Charaka Shastra, and other medicine texts which were available at that time. So based upon the 8 texts which were available in Sanskrit mainly, the Pali text named as Bhesaj Manjusa, it was composed in Sri Lanka, and it was composed in Pali language. Pali language is the standardized language in which the teachings of the Buddha have been compiled. And Magadhi was the language in which Buddha spoke to the common people in 6th century BC. So the language in which the etiology as well as therapeutic exercises or medicines which have been prescribed, it has been discussed in Bhesaj Manjusa. There are 62 chapters in Bhesaj Manjusa, and in the 62 chapters, all the systems, that is the Padhati, here the Panchadas Prakar, which Dr. Madan ji was discussing by Acharya Nagarjuna. But here it has been given as a Padhati, that is the system. And there are 62 types of Padhatis or the systems through which etiology and therapeutic medicines have been discussed. So based upon this text and some of the things which have been spoken by Buddha himself in 6th century BC, available in Pali literature, I will present myself in the given time in a very brief manner so that I can cover all the aspects which have been discussed by our text. So this is Bhesaj Manjusa, not Bhusan Manjusa, but Bhesaj, that is the it is in Sanskrit Bhesajya, that is the medicines. So Manjusa is in the sense of casket. So I will discuss in a very brief manner about the text also. Very brief manner, what are the contents of this Pali text. But before come to my main topic, I will discuss that what is a health strategy, how Buddhism defines about the health strategy. So what we mean in Buddhism related with healthiness or the health strategy. So in a very brief manner, we'll discuss and then we'll come to the main point. As we know that Buddhism is a psycho-ethical thought and practice which takes a being from the state of suffering to the state of eternal bliss. Buddha says also that I preach only two things, that there is a suffering and there is a cessation of suffering. Dvime bhikkhave desemi dukkham cha dukh nirodham cha. That I preach only two things, that what is the suffering and what is the cessation of suffering. And in between that, he prescribed a path that is called as middle path, Madhyama Pratipada, that Majjhima Patipada. There are eightfold path, which I am not going to discuss in a detailed manner, but how health has been defined. So in Dhammapad, which is called as a very, you can say, Hitopad. So I am audible or not?
We can hear you now.
Yes.
We can hear. Thank you.
Someone has muted me. Someone has muted me.
Oh.
So healthiness has been defined in Dhammapad. Dhammapad is considered as one of the Hitopadesa texts in Pali literature, and it is one of the 15 texts of Khudak Nikaya of Sutta Pitaka. In Dhammapad, there are 423 verses, and out of the 423 verses, all the moral ethics teachings related with the moral ethics as well as the behavior and conduct, these have been discussed. So in Dhampad, it has been said by the Buddha that Arogya Parama Labha, that health is the best gain. Santuthi Param Dhanam, that satisfiedness is the great wealth. Vishasa Parama Yati, the faith has the great, you can say, relatives. And that is the main thing. So Buddha says that your health is your best gain. That whatever you are gaining, there are so many profits and gains, but nothing is better than the health also. So Buddha says that how this health comes. So the health comes based upon the mind. That is why Buddhism stresses great importance on the mind. What is the significance of mind or consciousness, that is called as chitta also. In the beginning of the Dhammapad, Buddha also says that Manopumangama Dhamma, mind is the forerunner of all the actions. So here it is said that mind is pure, luminous by nature also, but it is being defiled by incoming inward defiling factors also. And it is also said that our mind or consciousness is unsteady. It does not stay at one place. In Dhampad, Buddha says that Fandanam Chapalam Chittam Durkham Dunivaryam Uchu Koroti Medhavi Usu Karo Tejanam. That our mind is unsteady. It does not stay at one place, and it is very difficult to control it. So just like a hunter who controls his bow, in the same manner, a person has to control his mind or consciousness also. So, in Anguttara Nikaya, Buddha also says that Pakati Pavasaram idam chittam, that our mind is very much pure, luminous by nature, by the Prakriti. And in Lankavatar Sutta, in Sanskrit text also, and in Mahayana Sutra Lankar, Acharya Sangh also discusses that Prakriti Prabhasvar, that our consciousness is Prabhasvar, that is the luminous and it is pure. It becomes defiled by our defiling factors. That is the klesas. Klesas are those immoral factors which blacken or darkening our consciousness. So this whenever our consciousness is blackened or darkened, then we are having the state of unhealthiness. So healthiness, that if you are pure by all the defiling factors, it is called as pakati pavasaram chittam, that our mind is pure, and it is not, and it is another name of Visuddhi, that it is Sabmal Birhaitam Achant Parisuddham Nibbanam Tibeditabam. So here our mind or consciousness is just like a, you can say, immense pure. That is the Sabmal Birhaitam Achanta Parisuddham, that devoid of all impurities, that is the defiling factors, and it is devoid of all, you can say, not having any impurity. That is it has the purity, and it is a state of eternal bliss. So that is the sign of the health. So it has been discussed in a very detailed manner in our Pali language literatures or in some of the text. So we'll discuss in a very detailed manner that how Acharya Buddha Ghosh, Acharyas have discussed in our 62 chapters of Cascade of Medicine. That is the, namely, it is called as Bhesaj Manjusa. That is the Bhesaj, that is the medicine, and Manjusa is called as casket. So we have just now discussed that there are 62 chapters. Out of the 62 chapters, the first 18 chapters are discussing about the Padhati. They are discussing about the etiology as well as therapeutic practices. And they have been taken from Ashtanga Hridaya Shastra and Chak Samhita and other medicinal texts which were available at that time, that is the 13th century. And we know that how Pali literature were also transmitted to Southeast Asian countries like Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand. So there are so many variations of this text. There are 6 variations of this Vesas de Manjusa, which were translated in Thailand, Myanmar also. So it became very much popular. So in first of all, it starts with the salutations of the teachers, our the blessed one, and it starts with Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So it has been given for understanding. And first of all, the text starts that there are only 2 types of illness, that is called as physical illness and a mental illness. Physical illness is that type of illness where there is the fever, headache, and other things related with our physic. But mental illness, where the rag, dvesh, moha, that is the greed, antipathy, and ignorance, these are the main akusal hetu, that is the immoral roots which are associated with our consciousness. So our mental illness is related with this rag, dvesh, moha. And then text discusses that how giving refuge to the Tisarana, namely Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And there is a significance that whosoever goes to the refuge of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, there is a great relief from the illness, whether it is mental or physical. And even here, Saran is not in the sense of what we are having in our Hindu traditions. In Saran, in Hindu tradition, is in the sense of surrendering to the Almighty God. But in Buddhism, does not believe in the Almighty God or Creator. But here, Buddha Dhamma Sangha, the refuge, is in the sense of how you are going to adopt the good attributes of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and how you are adopting in your life in conduct or behavior. And whenever we say that a Buddha, there are 9 attributes of the Buddha, like Itipiso Bhagava Raha Samma Sambuddho Vijacharan Sampanno Sugato Lok Buddhi Prusa Dhamma Sarati Itipiso Bhagava. So there are 9 attributes, there are 9 qualities of the Buddha, which we remember again and again. in the name of the Buddha and Smriddhi. Also, getting refuge to the Buddha, here it is in the sense of taking the good qualities in our day-to-day life. So in that sense, it has been said that one who takes refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, that is the great medicine for a good health in our life also. In Tibetan traditions also, in Tibetan Buddhism, there is a great importance on the Tisarana, that is the three sarana, the refuge to the Buddha, Dham, and Sangha. So Buddha is also called as a great physician, Mahabhisaka, or great, you can say, physicians. He has, just like a physician who diagnoses the disease, and on the basis of the disease, he prescribes the medicines. In the same manner, Buddha, as a great physician, he also makes a diagnosis of the cause of the suffering, and in that sense, he makes solution of the removal of the problem of the suffering. And if you go through the Four Noble Truth, which is called as the foundation of the teachings of the Buddha, that there is a suffering, there is a cause of suffering, there is a cessation of suffering, and there is a path which leads towards the cessation of suffering. दुख अरिय सत्य, दुख समुदय अरिय सत्य, दुख निरोधम अरिय सत्य, दुख निरोध गामनी पटिपदारिय सत्य. So these are the Four Noble Truths. And even there is a first, that there is a suffering. There are 8 kinds of suffering which has been spoken by the Buddha, that to take birth is the suffering, to become old is the suffering, to have a disease is the suffering, and whatever we get, we try to get it, but we do not get it. It is also a suffering. And getting association with the undesirable persons, it is also a cause of suffering. And to be get separated from the dear and loved persons, this is also a cause of suffering. And the main cause of suffering is the great desire, or a strong desire related with to come again and again in this process of repeated existence, is called as, you can say, suffering. And the cause of the suffering, dukh samudaya, Buddha says that there is the only, you can say, the desire is the main cause of the suffering. And Buddha says that yayam tanha punobhavika nandi rag sagata tatra tatra abhinandani setitam kamatana bhavtana and vibhavtana. That whatever the desires which are associated with the lust and attachment, and it comes again and again, and it moves from one place to another place. And there are 3 types of desires, that is the kamtana, bhavtana, and vibhavtana. So we are not going to discuss in a detailed manner, but Buddha gives the solution. That is why the third noble truth, Buddha says that dukh nirodham arya satcham. There is a cessation of suffering, and for that there is a eightfold path, that is called as a middle path, which has been prescribed in the Dukh Nirodha Gamni Patipada Arya Satya, that is the fourth noble truth. So this is called as a Buddha is also called in the same manner as a physician. He is also called as a great physician because he makes a diagnosis of the cause of the suffering, and he prescribes the solution for the removal of the or cessation of the suffering. And then in that text, Buddha also, the acharyas have discussed about the what is the good way of conduct or good way of living, and in that I will discuss in our due course. And then he has discussed about the physiology, and you can say that physiology of our body, as well as Jat Begum, that what are the natural urges. And Buddha says that whosoever makes unnatural to the urgent urges of the human persons, that is a great sign of unhealthiness. And there are so many diseases which are occurring when you are not giving proper time to your natural urges. So it is called as that whenever there is a time, you must get relieved from the your natural urges. And then what are the types of the meals and methods of taking meals? These have been also discussed in the Vesaji Manjusa, the text. And then there are what are the liquid drugs which have been prescribed on the basis of the Ashtanga Hridaya Shastra. And these are also available by our elder parents, which were prescribed for the small babies and others. So these are the best upon, and we are also having that how some of the ghee, oils, and the sip, they are helpful in remedy of the our physical and some of that diseases like fainting, epilepsy, and intoxications or problems related with the digestion, they are also discussed here. And what are the ways to remove all these things? These have been also discussed. Again, this text also discusses about the what are the toxic foods and how toxic foods are making problem in our body and how these toxics can be eliminated or destroyed from our body, and what are the symptoms of this toxic foods like swelling in the legs, in the body also. So these have been discussed in the text also. And after that, there is a, what are the antidotes of our toxic foods. And in discussing about this, the text discusses about the gar and vis. That what is the gar here? It is called as sthavara, and vis is the poison that is called as aesthetic and poison, you can say. So gar generally becomes, it is natural, that is the is not natural, this is artificial. And these are found in our text also. But Jangam, that is called as a stable, aesthetic, and mobile poison. So they are also killing in our, just like a serpent's poisons in our body also. So what are the incompatible food and what are creating problems in our body? So these have been discussed in the text also. And then what is indigestion, and how indigestion is called as a cause of all the diseases. These have been discussed in that text also. And then continuation of that, it has been discussed that what is the medicine. So medicine is of two types. It has been said dab and adab. So in Pali, it is called as drabya. In Pali, it is called as dabba. In Sanskrit, it is drabya and adrabya. So here, dab are threefold: those of earth, those of plant kingdoms, and those originating from moving beings also. So the drugs which are originating from moving beings are like honey, ghee, etc. So this text also discusses about that one thinks of drugs suitable for the manufacture of medicaments also. So these have been discussed, and how one should give up the unsuitable drugs which are not suitable to our body. So this has been discussed in that. And what are the major therapeutics which have been discussed in a detailed manner in that text also. But like while method, while is recommended for patient having tumors, sinus problem, and others like worms having problem. So sometimes there was Jivak Kumar Bhacha, who was the great physician at the time of the Buddha. And when Buddha was ill, or the king Ajata Satru, who was the king of Magadha at that time, he was cured by prescribing the medicines related with the ghee and oil, and they became cure also. And even in the cases of blood dysentery, the king Ajat Satru, who was having the problems like this, Jivak, the great physician at that time, he prescribed the medicines involved with our ghee, and he became cured with this. So these have been discussed with the examples and what are the therapeutic medicines which have been discussed. Then there is a discussion on the small treatments through which illness related with the water and air. The mainly the problems which are arising in our body due to air as well as water. If water is polluted, then our body is also, you can say, polluted. In the same manner, when we are not getting air, pure air or clean air, then the dirty air also causing problems in our body. How can we remove those, you can say? So how the pouring medicated oil on the heads, and how the application of those things, medicinal bath or application of cotton dipped in oil. So these are also available nowadays in also in there are so many arogya hall, and these are prescribing. So these have been discussed, and unfavorable signs which are by seeing the patient like in the dreams also, and what are the symptoms of the birds, and if you go through that, the how the birds are making sound. On the basis of that, we can also foresee some of the things related with our human personality also. So the sight and hearing of chameleons, owls, cat is inauspicious in our day-to-day life also. So the cry of pigs, serpents, hare, and cats is favorable. So sometimes these have been also discussed in our this casket of medicines also. And what are the unfavorable signs? And even dreams are the, you can say, great project of our mind also. Whatever the things which are being done in our day-to-day life, so these are being created in our dreams also. So dreams, some of the things, unfavorable signs are given. So dreams are used for as a diagnostic system for both mental as well as physical disorders in our body also. So this is another science which have been briefly discussed in that text also. So, and what are the disorders of our in body by the making offenses, bad offenses in our day-to-day life? They have been also, and Buddha says that all things are being done through the actions, and these actions are nothing but these are the evolution. And that is why Buddha says that Chetana Bhikkhave Kammam Badami Chetitva Kai Kammam Vachi Kammam Mano Kammam Karoti. Buddha says that, oh monks, I say evolution as an action. All the actions are being done by, whether it is physical, vocal, and mental, these are being done by our evolution. So all the actions, and Buddha also said that chittam ti vichittam, all the variations of our consciousness are being done by actions also. So the has given, or consciousness has given much importance in performing our day-to-day life. So whatever we are doing moral actions or immoral actions, they are also making resultant of those moral and immoral actions, and they are shaping our character, behavior, or good company also. In what way they are creating, these are a matter of investigation. But Buddha says that there are so many things which have been discussed. So, in a very brief manner, I will discuss about the sadachar. That is, what are the good conduct which are related with the health strategy in the text. So, in the text, Buddha starts in the Pali literature. Buddha says that there are only three immoral roots, namely raga, dvesha, and moha. That is the greed, antipathy, or hatred, or ignorance. These are the immoral roots which are the main cause of unhealthiness. And physical are those which are greed and hatred. And we have seen that how we, Buddha also says that how you have to purify your consciousness to become quite luminous or devoid of all the impurities. So there are some of the instances which have been discussed in the Pali literature. And Buddha says that a person who has constantly good habits of good behavior, as well as a person who is associated with the truthfulness for sublime teachings of the Buddha, namely friendliness, maitri, compassion, karuna, mudita, unalloyed joy, and indifference, that is the upeksha. So these are the four sublime teachings of the Buddha which have been discussed in a very detailed manner, that how one who refrains from doing anything unbecoming and who is always bent on sinless gains, he has become mastered over all the senses. And Buddha also says that one has to protect his six senses also. There are six senses: Chakshu Indriya, Srotra Indriya, Ghanan Indriya, Jiva Indriya, Kaya Indriya, and Mana Indriya. So every sense faculty has its capacity to catch its respective object also. Like Chakshu has the capacity to catch the respective object of beautiful objects. And whenever the Chakshu has the capacity to catch the beautiful object, it creates the attachments towards the beautiful objects. And whenever there is the attachment, there is a lust, rag, or you can say nandi, lust and attachment, then there is a creation of suffering. So Buddha says that one must control the senses, which how much you have to get involved with the respective objects of our six senses. So this has been given much importance, that how you are creating problems. Again, Buddha has given in Pali literature much stress on the 10 meritorious deeds. There are 10 types of meritorious deeds which make a person as a healthy, and they are called as dhan, seal, bhavana, apachayan, veya, vacha, dhamma shavana, pati, dhamma desana, and ditti ujakarana. So in a very brief manner, that we know that Dan is a act of generosity, and Dan is a great, you can say, charity, which a person gives anything. So there are three types of Dan. There is a friend's gift, there is a slave gift, and there is a royal gift also. So Buddha has also discussed that if a person who gives a very with a very weak volition or consciousness to someone, then it is called as a slave gift. And if a person who gives some of the things to his friend, and without having much, you can say, clear heart, then this is called as a friend gift. And a person who gives for the sake of the humanity, for the welfare of all human personality, for the welfare of all the country beings, then this is called as a royal gift. So gift has been given, and seal, there is a second meritorious deed. Seal is called as virtue or morality. Morality is the name of curtailment of the three types of physical as well as four types of vocal misdeeds. There are three types of physical, namely panatipata, killing a living being, telling a lie, and taking a thing which has not been given to you. So these are the three types of panatipata, adinnadana, the thing which has not been given to you. You are taking a thing, that is called as stealing, and indulging in sexual misdeeds. They are called as three types of physical akusal kamma. And there are four types of vocal, namely musavada, vishnavacha, parusavacha, and samfalapa, telling a telling the untruth in a true manner, and harsh speech, very slandering speech, and ignoble speech. These refraining, this is called as a seal. Seal is the curtailment of the physical and vocal states. Bhavana is the name of the practice, that how you are making teachings of the Buddha in applying in day-to-day your life or activities of day-to-day life. And this is through the mindfulness, smriti or sati or vipassana. So these are the two things which I will discuss in due course. So these have been discussed in a very dana sila bhavana, and then apachayan, respecting to the elders who and the parents, and Beyavach, that is the those who are respecting elders and giving respect to parents. They must be encouraged, they must be praised also, and to do something for that. And hearing the teachings of the Buddha, and giving discourses to the common people related with the teachings of the Buddha, and how you are making it clear to the common people related with the false views prevalent in the society. So these are called as 10 meritorious deeds, which have been given in a very detailed manner in the text. In a very brief manner, I have given to you that the 10 meritorious deeds are making our body as a healthy also. And there is another which has been given much importance, that is called as vigilance. That is called as apramad in Sanskrit. In Pali, it is called as apamad. So in Dhammapad also, it is said that apamado amtam padam, pamado machano padam. That diligence is the name of, you can say, becoming active. That is the Biryavan, that a person who has the diligence, he is having a, you can say, Amrita Pad, that is the state of eternal bliss, that is the Nirvana. And a person who does not have diligence, that is Pramad, the person who are called as Pramadi, they are just like a dead persons. Because of pramad, due to pramad, the violence starts. Violence comes in our activities or in our day-to-day life. So that is why apramad has been also discussed as a most, you can say, important factor to become healthy in our day-to-day life. So the actions of the beings are being performed in our becoming happiness. So happiness does not occur without Dhamma. So Dhamma is nothing but here the teachings of the Buddha, that how Buddha says that the act of the truth, such a kriya or satya karya, they are invoking the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha to be practiced for the sake of the welfare of the human beings. This is called as, so this is called as we have to make recollections of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and everything that is good always comes from the our vigilance, and what is not good result from idleness, that is called as a dead-like persons. So again, Buddha discusses about the habits also, because Buddha says that satisfiedness is the great, you can say, santutti param dhanam. That satisfiedness is the great, you can say, wealth. And a person who has the satisfaction, Buddha also says that for the monks and other persons also, ghas chadan paramatay bhikkhu santuttoti, that a monk who must be satisfied with the things whatever he has for covering the body also, that is the ghas chadan paramtai, he can cover his body with only the grass and the leaves. In that way he can be satisfied, and whatever the things it comes in the alms ball for the sustaining of the body, this is called as satisfiedness. Not taking the meal, whatever the things comes to you, and taking for the great health, you are taking or eating everything, that is not called as you can say satisfiedness. This is called as unsatisfiedness, and every problems comes through this unsatisfiedness. So Buddha also says that one become very much satisfiedness, whatever it comes to you. That is why a monk is supposed to only the chivara, that is the cloth, and the alms ball, and he has to take sleep below the at the root tree, at the root of the tree, and he has to take care of the body. So a person must be have little desire. That is called as alpa iksha, and that is why that whatever it comes, you have to take it in that way, and that is called as sadachar and the good conduct. So sadachar has been also discussed in what is good conduct. In the text, it has been discussed in a very detailed manner, and Buddha says that what is sadachar and what is anachar. And sadachar has been discussed in a sense of the good behavior, that whatever the things, that is the right livelihood, a person who is living through the right livelihood, right, right livelihood is called as samyak ajiva, which is the fifth constituent of eightfold path of the Athangiko Maggo or Arjastangika Marg. So the good company and the good behavior means making transgression of any rule physical. So whatever the transgression of the physical or mental actions, physical, vocal, and mental actions, this is called as good behavior or achar. So in that sense, refraining from killing, stealing, committing sexual, you can say adultery. So these are called as physical moral actions. So refraining from all these called as good behavior, and it is also called as you can say good company also. So sometimes the good company also makes our body as a healthy also. It depends upon the friends and the members of the society to whom you are interacting. So it also depends that how much you are taking care of those friends also, in what manner they are giving you some satisfactions. So friends are, or good company of your friends are also creating healthiness in our body also. So in that way, it has been discussed. Again, in Pali literature, it has been said that taking fast is the great purification of your body also. And that is why in Sangha or in the monastery, Buddha has given a prescription of taking fast twice in a month on every, you can say, 15th day, Chaturdasi and Panarasi, on the 14th day or the 15th day, generally on the full moon day and the other Shukla Paksha or Krishna Paksha. Everyone has to take fast, and fast make purification of our body also. So it is also called as Laghu Bhojan also. And Laghu Bhojan is nothing but it is another name of Langhana. And it has been said in our text also that Langhan is nothing but it is substance or act meant for slimming of our body. That how you are making your body in a slim manner. So good health has been also discussed in our, and they are called as Mangal Achar, that a person who is associated with the auspicious good conduct, and in that way, Saddha or faith has been discussed as a great virtue or the attribute that how you have to be very faith. And even a patient, for a patient, he must have a faith or shraddha towards his physician or the doctors also. Until unless a patient does not have a faith or shraddha in his doctor or physician, his disease cannot be removed. And in Pali text, we are also having that there are 5 types of shadows or chaya, which have the different characteristics of 5 elements, namely Pathvi, Apo, Tejo, Bayo, and Akas, earth, water, fire, air, and sky. So these are the 5 types of the shadows. And one who does not have any shadow or radiance, the body does not have any, you can say, sign of the healthy. So these 5 elements or Panch Mahabhut or Panch Chayas, they are also making our body as healthy. So these have been also discussed in our power literatures. And some of the signs of the our body, they have been also discussed. That Buddha also says sometimes that I have a back pain, and he was suffering some of the blood at the time of Mahaparinibbana, great disease when he was at Kusinagar. Then he was also having blood dysentery also. And due to that, it is said that one who has the some of the science related with our body, then he is making how who one can make healthy his body. In that way, there are some of the signs which have been given. And in the villages also, we have seen that if a crow does not take any remaining food of any persons, it means that person is not healthy. And even there are some of the signs which have been given in our party text also, that if the diseases are cured without having any medicines, or the medicine without medicines, or with the medicines, a person becomes, you can say, ill. It shows that there are very few days left for that persons also. So these have been discussed as a signs of that. And in Pali literature, we are having that how Sat, Rajas, and Tamas, they are also making healthy. How a person can become healthy through the natural temperaments like Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, or those there are. And every disease, as we know, as a student of Ayurveda, that that kapha, pitta, and bayu, these are the things which are creating problems in our body. So how we have to remove the kapha, pitta, and bayu? These are some of the things, therapeutic medicines which have been given in the text also. So in the text, it is said that a person whose faith, that is the Shraddha, morality, seal, and the consciousness, that is the Chit, and the generosity, that is the Dan, and Briyavan, that is the strength, and the wisdom or right understanding, Pragya, come to a stop without any reason. It means that a person is going to live for only 6 months. So in Ashtanga Hridaya Shastra, it has been also discussed like this, and in a Pali text also we are having references like this, and it describes that a person who does not feel any pain after piercing any pin or something like that, it means that something is wrong with health, and even sometimes the hairs are pulled, and if a person does not feel any pain, it means that there are very few months which are left for a person's, and he is going to die. So these are the some of the signs which have been discussed in the text, Pali text also. And whatever the fatal diseases like diabetes, vomiting, abnormal thirst, or diarrhea or swelling, these have been also discussed in our Pali text also. So Buddha also says that a person who does not have, you can say, meritorious deeds, or you can say jiviti indriya, it means that the fatal diseases are occurring in that also. So these are some of the things which have been discussed in that Pali text, and in Pali text, Buddha has said that health is a part of our happiness, and disease is a part of our suffering. So that is why it is said that arogya paramalava, and all things, the whole our human body is dependent on the theory of interdependence, just like our Dr. Madanji was also discussing about the Panchadas Pakara. So in the Pali text also we are having that how law of dependent originations, that is the Paticca Samutpad in Pali, or in Sanskrit it is called as Pratyatta Samutpad, and that is also related with the Nagarjun theory of interdependence in Madhyamakarika, and that is also equated with theory of relativity of Albert Einstein also. So this, according to this theory, it is said that everything comes into existence dependent on some cause and conditions. There is no self-independent entity. Whatever the things which are coming in our day-to-day life, they are based upon the cause and conditions, hetu and the pratyaya. And in Pali text, it has been said that imasmim sati idam hoti, imasmim asati idam nahoti, imas upada idam upajjati, imas nirodha idam nirujjati. That because of this, there is the emergence of this, and because of not presence of this, there is not emergence of this, and there is a cessation of that. So this is the theory of interdependence, and this has been discussed by Acharya Nagarjuna in Prathay Pariksha, the first chapter of Madhyama Karika, like that how there is a asray prasrayata, that how everything are related with others, how the things are causally related with others. Acharya Nagarjuna says that man, nature, and environment, these three things are causally related. If there is no nature, there will be no man and environment. So whatever the things which are available in man as well as nature and our environment, they are causally related with that. So everything is dependent on that. Nature is dependent on environment. Environment is dependent on man. So this is called as Astra Prasarita. That is the theory of relativity, and that has been also discussed. Or this theory of interdependence of Acharya Nagarjuna has been equated as a theory of relativity, and scholars like great scientist, our Professor Raja Ramanna, he had written a very good article on this theory of relativity of Albert Einstein and theory of interdependence of Acharya Nagarjuna also. So I have not gone through the das pakar padati or whatever our Dr. Madan ji was discussing. So I will also go through that how these panchadas pakar, they are quite relevant to our present day also, as well as how Buddha has said in our Pali literatures, how these systems and how the Padhati which has been discussed in the Bhesaj Manjusa written by Acharyas in 13th century, mainly based upon the eight triages of the Ayurveda. So this is the, you can say, things which have been. So the Pali medicine, whatever we are discussing about the Vesage or medicine, they are only, you can say, discussing about the four types of sublime teachings of the Buddha. They are called as Brahma Vihar. Brahma Vihar is a noble way of living. Brahma is here in the sense of Srestha, or that is the great living. They are four in number. That is the friendliness, Maitri, compassion, Karuna, Mudita, unalloyed joy, and Upeksha, that is the indifference. Here, Maitri is nothing but only, you can say, loving kindness, but Parhit Kamata, that a desire to help others. Whenever we see any person who is in distress, and if you are helping others, this is called as Maitri. So, Parhit Kamata, that a desire to help others, is called as Maitri. Compassion or Karuna is not only a verbal sympathy after seeing the suffering of the others, but how you are making an effort to get associated with the suffering of others, and how you are making an effort to remove those sufferings of that persons, that is called as Karuna. Karuna is par dukhe hadai kampanam uppannam, that arising of the shaking of the heart after the seeing the suffering of others. This is called as Karuna. Again, Karuna has been defined by Acharyas like kamiti dukkham runati iti tam pavisati vinasai bhayamati cha, that how you are making an effort to remove the suffering of the others, this is called as Karuna. And unalloyed joy, that it does not, after seeing the well-being of the others, well-being of the society or the country of the others, when your consciousness become mild, or when you have a joy without having any faultness, that is called as unalloyed joy. This is called as parmodanam chittamti mudita. So this is called as mudita. And for sublime teachings, this is called as upeksha, that is the indifference, that neither pleasantness or nor unpleasantness, neither suffering nor you can say happiness. It is in the sense of you can say indifference, that whatever you see, you do not react anything. This is called as indifference. It has been defined as a mudhajanesu upekha or upeksha, that just like among the full persons, the indifference arises in the same manner. A person has also make an indifference, neither having unpleasantness nor having pleasantness. So this is the four types of sublime teachings which have been discussed in the our Pali text. And again, one who is said that one who is the having the such dhiti, that truthfulness, dharjavan, that perseverance, that one who has the patience, and one who has the good company, he will be free from all the diseases, whether it is mental or physical. So this, in that way, it has been discussed in our Pali text. But some of the things which have been given much in our Pali text, that is called as alpeksha, that is the less desire or limitation of the desires, or you can say following the dhamma, that is the righteousness. And we are also having that how a royal king has been prescribed in our Pali text as a das Raja Dharma. So for a king has also that how the people can behave as a proper in a proper manner. So in that way, there are 10 types of righteous dhamma which have been also discussed. So these have been discussed, and how the things which can be they applied in our day-to-day life. Now we are seeing that mindfulness as well as insight, that is the sati and vipassana. These are the two main tools which are applied in our day-to-day life for becoming healthy. These are the our main tools of our Buddhism, through which a person can become healthy also. So here mindfulness, and there are four tools. They are called as samadhi, pragya, sampajanya, and sati. So these are the four things. Out of the four things, this is the sati and sampajanya and the pragya. These main tools are being our you can say applied, or they are practicing in our day-to-day life. So there are so many monasteries where the monks and the common people are practicing. So mindfulness is just like a doorkeeper, and just like a doorkeeper does not allow any undesirable person to enter into the house, in the same manner, our sati or mindfulness does not allow any undesirable immoral factors to arise on the surface of the mind. So, in Satipatthana Sutta, which is available in Dekha Nikaya and Majjhima Nikaya also, in the name of Mahasatipatthana Sutta and Satipatthana Sutta, Buddha has said that Ekayano Maggo Sattanam Visuddhiya, that mindfulness is the only path for getting a state of eternal bliss. And they are four in number: Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, and Dhammanupassana. Because of lack of time, I am limiting myself because I am crossing my time also. So, and Vipassana nowadays, that Vipassana is a name of thought through which a person can visualize the things that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. These three things are being achieved through the practice of vipassana. Vipassana has been defined by the Buddha that anicca adi vishesha prakarena pasati ti vipassana. That vipassana is the name of the insight through that practice a person can get a state of that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless, anitya, dukkha, and anatma. So these are the things which have been discussed. So with these words, there are many things which can be shared. So if the time permits in the coming webinars, then I will share some of the things related with other aspects of our teachings. So with these words, I am thankful to all the organizing committee members who have given me a platform to express some of the ideas related with the health strategy according to available according to our Pali text as well as in some of the Mahayana text also. So thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Thank you very much.